chilly out here. A little chilly. Just going to let a few people gather on in. Lito, Great Grand Rising. And this video is going to be about what the American Indian doesn't understand about their condition, about what's really going on. I was thoroughly criticized, saying that my series on the doctrine of discovery was garbage, and that it did not apply to the American Indian because none of the laws of America apply to them. So it's extremely important for us to understand what the American Indian, what the so-called American Indian, does not understand about their condition. So you have to remember that there's a lot of groups out there, a lot of people who are creating nations and everything like that. And remember, I used to talk a lot about not doctrine of discovery, but a lot about decolonization, the right to self-determination. A lot of those things I used to discuss. And then I started getting into the real heart of the matter as to what are you decolonizing from? Who are you getting free from? Who are you asking to become free? And what are you actually really in terms of a country? So most people know now that they are not in a country, but more so in a corporation. And the United States of America has more than one corporation, as they do have more than one constitutional amendment. Some people say that the Declaration of Independence was sort of a constitution. The Constitution of America, the one that they signed, was a constitution. The 10 Amendments, all different types of things. So you need to know exactly what you're becoming free of and who you're asking for your freedom. And one of the things that I was criticized about, again, was giving out the doctrine of discovery. And I did about, 10, 13 hours on that. I haven't released the book on it yet because I want to include this information on it, which is quite extensive, which cannot be covered all in this video. This video won't be as long as that. But you have to understand that most people are going to the United States or going to the UN, or they're saying that they're just, they're declaring themselves free from the quote-unquote corporation of the United States. Well, the majority of people, and only being, into political science, my background, my degree about political science, I've studied a lot of these things about how the United States came into fruition. Most people don't understand that. And in short, the United States came into fruition due to another corporation, and that is called the City of London. The City of London is a corporation, and the City of London was chartered by a parent corporation, which is called London. So just stopping there, not going any further, when people are trying to get themselves free from the United States of America, Halito out there, Great Grand Rising, thank you for joining. When people are trying to get themselves free from this corporation, they don't realize that this corporation is also run by a board of advisors. Every corporation has a board of advisors that run the corporation. And then that corporation hires a director to run the company or parts of the company. So another thing that people don't understand is that there are many different parts to the United States. Luego, yes? Peace, Grand Rising, peace. That there are many different corporate parts to the United States. So the corporation of the United States is just not one solitary single entity controlled by itself. It is controlled by the corporation of the City of London, where the charters were signed. So when I talk about the doctrine of discovery, I'm going to the heart of what is controlling right now the planet of the Earth and who's controlling all these corporations. So that being said, the corporate, this form of the corporation of the United States has has a board. Now, nobody knows who's on that board, but every corporation has a board, and they have to sign off on certain things. This is something that I did not mention when I was talking about the 12th Amendment, dealing with the United States Constitution. Now, a lot of these things are part of the law that they establish under their God. Now, nobody really questions who their God is. This is the reason why I started getting in and talking to people about the creation stories. When you begin to start understanding the creation stories, you begin to start understanding who their gods are and who they created and who are the actual inheritors of this earth. So when you begin to start understanding that, you will have an understanding that it goes back to, quote unquote, what they call the Anunnaki gods. Now, a lot of people feel that they are Anunnaki, or they're part of the Anunnaki. I have a different interpretation on that, because I'm starting to believe that we don't have anything to do with the Anunnaki, other than that the Anunnaki was created during the chaos period time, but was not of us, because we are created differently. But that's a story of a whole nother day. So when people start criticizing about the political interpretations that they really need to understand in terms of becoming free and getting out of jail, because everybody's in this jail, you need to know exactly what jail you're in and what it looks like on the outside of the jail. So most people, what they're doing, they're carting you from a solitary confinement, part of the jail, to maybe the jail yard, but they're still in jail. They're just in a more comfortable place in that jailing system. So most people who own a lot of these nations, who are starting a lot of these political entities and stuff like that, need to realize what they are actually doing, right? So this is the reason why I coined the term co-creation communities, because we have to operate on more than just a governmental scale. We have to operate more on just an international scale. And even, and this is going to shake some heads, we have to operate more than on just a natural scale, because what we are cosmic beings that operate above all of these scales. So when I begin to start saying that, the co-creation communities that we're teaching and we're, coming up, we're giving them the understanding of what it actually means to be sovereign. Because you yourself are a sovereign entity, right? You have no leader, president, and you should not have anybody that's above you whatsoever. You are a sovereign being. So in that, most of these nations, corporations, or organizations, whatever the situation is, refer to you as being a person. Not a people, but a person. Now, I may have gotten this one wrong. I may have to go back and take a look at this. But when you begin to start looking at a corporation, which is a corpse, it's dead, it's not alive, you're talking about being part of a system that has already pronounced you dead. You have no rights because you are not alive. So one of the things you have to understand is that you have to be, in order for you to be able to get out of the system, you have to show the system that you are alive and a sovereign being. Extremely important. So this is the reason why when I did that study, go back and listen to the study of the Doctrine and Discovery, it begins to give you an understanding why you, as a person on this earth, have no viable rights, because you are owned by the Corporation of the United States, which is owned by the Corporation of London, or controlled, and that is owned by the City of London, and that is owned by the London, which is like a parent corporation. And all of these things are under the auspices of what you call the Papal Bull, the Roman Pontiff. What I'm going to do And some of my next videos, I'm going to get back into getting you to be able to understand why co-creation communities are so important, and not just formulating any old kind of thing and thinking that you are free. You are not free if you're part of a corporation or if you're part of anything that is signifying you as a person, because that means that you're still within the system, and the system already considers you to be dead. So you have to do something completely and totally different in order for you to be sovereign, alive, and free. Or maybe I should say, first, alive, which is one of the things that they talk about in the Bible about resurrection, right? Because in order for you to get out, you have to be out of a dead state, you have to be resurrected. And when you're resurrected, you become alive. And then when you become alive, you become sovereign once again, not to this earth, but to the powers of the universe. You are a universal being with a light being within that is powered by a soul. That is powerful, right? We want to true freedom, a part of other contracts. We need to get back to our free, clear. That's the way that you do it. See, a lot of people are trying to get their land by saying that they're going to be free of the corporation of the United States. That doesn't really get you free anything, because you still, I mean, you look at all these people. They are still have to drive around with a driver's license. They still have to pay their taxes. They still have to pay their property taxes. I mean, none of these people, no matter what they do, are actually really free. And they're still governed, Halito, American Indian, Halito, Great Grand Rising. And they're still not free. So when we are creating co-creation communities, what we are doing is creating people, not persons, but people. And these people are alive, and we are teaching them how to create a sovereignty unto themselves, getting themselves out of the whole and total entire system. Now, there's a lot of people say, well, we have to negotiate. We have to, we have to take our, we have to be able to make sure that we negotiate everything that we do, barter, whatever the situation is. When you are free of the system has absolutely nothing else to do with you. There's nothing to barter with. You're free. You're free. And I'll get into about what is actually a nation, what is actually a city, what is actually a tribe, what is actually a country, what is actually a state. I'll start having videos on all these things, because when you're developing your co-creation communities, with all the things that are dropping down on us now. So people are saying, wait for this to come, wait for that to come. All the stuff is here. And I've been telling people that now for the past 3 years. We're living in these times. These times aren't coming. They are here. And if you're already in a co-creation community, there's a lot of things that you don't have to worry about, such as the vaccine, which will actually change the blood, your very being of who and what you are, and abiding to a lot of these different laws. Now, when you in college, one of the things they do talk about is natural law. Now, natural law is extremely important, because that is on the way of getting out of this corporate law or system that they develop to entrap you in. So I'll have more videos explaining a lot of these different types of things, because the beings that were here on this earth before all this other stuff started are the true souls that vibrate in coordination with the vibration of the earth and are changing. A lot of these other beings that just came out here lately, these are created beings, and there's a lot of quote-unquote black folks, a lot of quote-unquote what you call Indians, a lot of quote what you call right now Africans or whatever. A lot of these or created beings first. In fact, these people, the ones that are called the dark-headed, the black-headed ones, were the first creations. Those were the atom. They were the first creation on the earth that was created by what they would call the gods, or possibly the Anunnaki, the ones that came to this earth to mine for gold and all that other type stuff. Now, those are videos that I've been starting to get into them, and it's important for us to understand who these beings are, what they are, and what they truly represent. Because when you understand that, you begin to start understanding that natural law is the key to get you to your cosmic position where you actually really belong, so you can be free, grow your light being within inside, energize that soul, and become what you're supposed to be in this earth. I gave birth to my 3 little ones at home and did not get birth to certificates. Let me just, hold on, let me just read that. Home for them, understandable. I haven't had any trouble so far, but know that I need something to separate my sovereign to sustain and protect them, which is understandable. So this is one of the things that I'm going to be starting to do. Now, I'm doing this on other channels. I do this when I come out to give personal speakings, but a lot of stuff was shut down, right? So it's hard to do this over YouTube, because I'm off of Facebook now because they were shutting down a lot of the stuff, creating all kind of dummy accounts. I'm off of Messenger because they were doing the same exact thing. They were shutting people off, offending people, blocking people. I wasn't doing any of that stuff because I haven't really been on Messenger for like almost 1.5 years now. So a lot of the information that I'm giving out, I might try to start directing you to other areas just in case they begin to start once again tearing down these videos. And I'm also putting it all in a book. Now this book is getting pretty lengthy, but you know, if it's 1,000-page book, it's 1,000-page book. Whatever the situation may be, you'll have that at your disposal, because we have to start putting a lot of these things down in writing. So, co-creation communities, I really do appreciate the 3,000 people, basically 2,800 or so people that have joined the co-creation community and to learn about it. We're going to be learning about it a lot more. And remember, all right, remember, don't be fooled by the people that are negotiating and bartering with the system. You need a way to get out of the system, so then that way you can get out of the jail and look from the system from the outside. So our system that we're going back into a system that we actually were in before they enslaved us and put us into this system. Now that sounds confusing, but that's exactly where that it is. So then that way, what happens is that we're able to begin to start governing. And again, I don't like that word governing, because in our natural state, none of us needed to be governed. We are free people. And when you have a soul, your soul only wants happiness, only wants goodness, and only wants growth. And the most pure and happy way, period. You are a being of light. You're a being of light, and you are meant to resonate with this earth. Right? So there's a lot of entities that are on this earth now that doesn't resonate to this earth. That's the reason why they have to create all of these laws in order for them to be able to govern themselves, because they don't resonate on the same frequency that we do. They resonate on a much lower frequency. So anytime that you need laws to govern yourself, that means you are operating on a frequency that is much lower than the frequency that you were created in, which in turn is entrapping you in a system of fear. And this is what our co-creation communities are doing. We're getting them out of that fear and getting them out of the system, right? And that doesn't mean that you're going back to the Stone Ages or anything else like that. We'll start putting out more information on that as well, about the different resets that went on and the type of housing or communities or systems that we actually really lived in. And it was all here when that last reset took place. They just walked into it. When I say they, a lot of these so-called, what you call, I don't want to, just Africans or whatever, and what you call Caucasians, which are really, most of them are called, I'll tell you this, so much stuff. Um, Nazis and Nazis, the Root, the Hemaru, the Hikkas, and a lot of the other different things that are out there. The Tamahu, that's what they're really called, the Tamahu. And, everything has a right to life once they were created. I see that you're very interested in learning about it. I'll get back to that. How do you join the co-creation community? I'll have more information on that again. And again, a co-creation community is designed to be small and to be able to hook up with other co-creation communities. And you can do it just by, I'll have a whole entire, I'll have another whole entire video about that, because it gets into a lot more stuff beyond the video that I'm talking about now. So we'll get into that. But this is wonderful information, because this is information that you need to understand in order for you to be able to vibrate out of the situation, out of this low dimensional situation that you're in. I appreciate you too. Thank you for joining. So what I'm using the numbers on this platform is to show that people are joining co-creation communities, and they are very sincerely interested in getting out of jail, and not just compromising their position in jail. Because they said that if they say, oh, you're not willing to compromise. Well, no, I'm not. And they said, well, then you're going to be alone. Well, then, I said, I'd rather be alone, because I'd rather keep my soul, I'd rather keep my light being in a position for when I transition in a state of freedom, in a state of being a soulful entity, and not being recycled into this system, unless that is my choice. And right now, a lot of people don't have choice, because they are sucked into the system. So this is the reason why I put out the doctrine of discovery, because people don't understand and realize what's really controlling their paradigm. And that paradigm is that reality that they're facing in. So it's not just learning about who or what you are in terms of being an American Indian, or your family heritage. It's also understanding the system that you're in, and what you had to do, and what you have to do to get out of that jail. This video is now going on almost 23 minutes, so it's a little bit longer than I expected. I'm going to be putting out a lot more videos, but I want to keep them to about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, so then that way, I only respect you as also, right? I respect each and every person that is out there right now, that is actually trying to do everything that they can, and they're going beyond trying and doing what they have to do in order for them to live as a sovereign light being, a sovereign soul, and vibrating. Allow yourself to really vibrate to this earth. So again, this is the reason why I say Grand Rising. I'm out here now in the wilderness, in nature, because I want you guys to understand that, yes, natural law is the gateway. It is the key, be able to get back to your universal standing and what you truly are universally. You are built. You are created. What is inside of you is above and beyond anything in this universal construct. You are powerful, and more powerful than you could ever know. Take care of your babies. Take care of your loved ones. Take care of your parents. Take care of all of those that are in your circle that is doing everything that they can to resonate with the light being and that soul within inside of them, because they're trying to allow that goodness to come out. So do that. And the most important thing, make sure you take the time out to love yourself, because that's what you are. And that's right. And don't allow them to live in fear. We did a video on that. We did a whole entire video on that, about living in fear. Don't allow them to live in fear. Take care of yourself, right? Take care of yourself, because you are the God presence that they look to be. That's what you are. And that's why they are trying to destroy the actual melanin, the blood, to disconnect you from the light being that you are from within, and that powerful entity of a soul that you have from the cosmic universe. and so that you can have more power than the low-dimensional entities that are beneath you. It's getting dark out here, but it doesn't look like it. But you are powerful. I love you. I appreciate you. I appreciate everything that you're doing. Stand strong, stand together, stand proud, and great grand rising to us all. Salute all of what you would call the Aboriginal, Indigenous, American Indians that we have. Great grand rising to us all. Peace be with you.